Hey y'all, it's me Lauren from Speak From the Heart, where I give you all things speech, language, and life. I am a licensed and certified speech language pathologist, and I'm so happy that you are here viewing my latest video. It is February. We are almost to May. I know it doesn't really seem like it, but May is graduation time, and many of you will be finishing your graduate studies. And what comes after that? Your CFY, your clinical fellowship year. A very exciting time, and it's really the time right now to start applying for jobs, seeing what's out there, whether you want to go the medical SLP route or the schools or pediatrics, whatever you want to do, this is the perfect time. When I did my CF, I started interviewing in February and just let companies know like, hey, I'm still in school, I'll be graduating in May, I'll have my license then, and it works out. So go ahead and get a jump on it. But before you can apply, you need to have a resume, sis, and your resume needs to be popping. So today we are going to be talking about some do's and some don'ts for your CFY resume. So the one thing I want to say first is if you've been applying for jobs and you're getting rejection after rejection and you know that you're qualified, especially as a CFY, it may not be that you are a bad clinician, or it may not be that you're not the right fit. It might just be that your resume is not as strong as it could be. And your resume may not be really highlighting your strengths as a clinician and who you really are as a clinician. And these are not like all of the tips, but just some that I think have helped me. And if you have any questions, please let me know down below. If you want me to review your resume, again, let me know down below. I'd be more than happy to. But let's jump right into the don'ts. So my first don't, do not add an objective to your resume. It is just the most redundant thing because obviously you are applying for the job to further your skills or to complete your clinical fellowship year. Trust me, the employer, the hiring manager, they know. So scratch the objective. Let's just throw that in the trash. And kind of going along with that, something else that you should not include. So at the very bottom, you should not include references available upon request. Like, let's just get rid of that too. So the objective and the references phrase, we're just throwing that in the trash. Again, it's redundant, and the employer knows that if they ask you for references, that you'll give it to them. So just delete that and add space for things that will be actually pertinent to the job position. Another don't, in my opinion, so don't make your resume so different. So different usually is good, right? But for your resume, you don't want to have like purple and blue circles and sparkles and highlights and all these different colors and images and things like that. Keep your resume simple. When it comes to something like this where it is a professional document, you want it to be uniform, you want it to be easy to read, you want your information to be easy to locate. So keep it simple, you know, just line things up one by one. You don't have to split it and put it on the back and add a sparkle on top of your name. Like, just keep it simple. And my last don't, so don't write paragraphs for your bullet points when it comes to explaining your clinical experience or, you know, whatever it is that you're putting on your resume. You have to keep in mind that hiring managers, especially for bigger companies, they probably review hundreds of resumes on a day. And if you come in with all these paragraphs, and while the information may be stellar, you know, it's just hard to read through all that. So keep things nice and short. When you go into detail about your position or you're talking about your accomplishments, keep it short. No complete sentences. It shouldn't be, I completed XYZ. It should be completed this, performed this task, measured this. Like, very simple, very to the point, keep it short. So those are a couple of things that I feel you should not do. And again, these are all, this is my opinion. These are things that I've used for my resume. So take this with a grain of salt. Definitely do your research, and also do your research as far as what the company may be requiring is in your resume. But let's talk about some things that you should do. So these are the do's. These are the things that really kind of push your resume above and beyond and just help them stand out in the crowd. So let's first talk about the order of your resume. So the first thing obviously is your name and your contact information. That should be at the very top. It should be big, it should be easy to read. And your first section should be your education. So everything is in reverse chronological order. So you want to put your master's degree first, since that's the most recent thing, followed by your bachelor's, or if you have an associate's, you know, whatever you did, it's just from newest to oldest. Don't put your GPA, because honestly, no one cares once you get into the professional world. Just put your school, your degree name, and when you went there, the city, all of that, and you will be good. Following education is your clinical experience. So obviously you have not had a job as a speech pathologist, so this is where you enter in your externship information, your on-campus placements, or your on-campus clinical experiences. All of that will go next. So education, clinical experience. Following clinical experience, I would recommend having a section titled related experience. So this is for any work that you did outside of your externships or your clinical placement. So for example, I worked as a direct support professional with individuals who had intellectual disabilities when I was in grad school. So that was under related experience. I also did some volunteer work. I put that under related experience. Anything else that is remotely related to speech therapy and that you think would look good on your resume and highlight your skills, you want to include that under related experience. Following that, your professional organization. So if you are a member of NISLA or a student member of MBASLA or a member of your state's Speech, Language, and Hearing Association, make sure you put all of that there. Then your last section that I would recommend is an awards section. If you have received any awards, I would put them there, or if you have done any continuing education, I would have a section for continuing education. So any student trainings that you've done, any webinars that you've watched, obviously you can't get CEUs, but you can definitely include that and make sure that it's pertinent to the the specific setting that you're applying. Those are the things that you want in your resume, and that will help it stand out. And it also makes sure that everything is nice and organized, so the reviewing hiring manager, whoever it is, knows exactly where to look to find your information. Something else that you should keep in mind as you write your resume is to tailor your resume to the specific position. If you are applying for an acute care position or an outpatient rehab, any type of adult-focused setting, you want to make sure that your resume is reflective of that. Now, obviously, you've had pediatric experience and, probably a lot of different diverse experiences, but where you have had experience with adults, you want to make sure that that portion shines. You want to include your accomplishments, specific techniques, tests that you've given. Be very specific. The next thing you should think about is using words from the job description itself. Taking whatever words are in the job description and directly entering them into your resume, assuming that you have experience with them, right? So that's important. A lot of times these bigger companies, they just have like this screening tool, and so they're looking for keywords from the job description and making sure it's in your resume. Just make sure that your resume and the job description look very similar, and that also helps your chances of getting it passed on to a hiring manager. If you are just applying, like maybe you've done your research and you're just directly applying to a company, the same thing. Look on their website and see what types of disorders or populations they work with, and enter that into your resume as well. So you want to make sure that if you are talking about an experience that you're doing right now, that everything is in present tense, and it needs to match from bullet to bullet, or however you decide to structure it. So complete, perform, maintain. So making sure that all of your verbs are parallel and they match throughout the entire clinical experience. That is very, very important. I hope this video was helpful. I know this was a lot of information, but I tried to cram it in to as short as a video as I could possibly make it. Your CFY is a very important time in your clinical experience, and it's where you really, like I always say, it's where you really find your groove as a speech language pathologist. But the very first thing you need is your resume. So remembering that your resume is a reflection of you, and for a hiring manager, it's really their first interaction with you as a person. So they're reading your clinical skills, they're seeing how you've structured everything. So make sure that it is up to par, it is stellar, have multiple people read through it, and I promise you will be good. If you have any questions, again, let me know. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.